Someday, you're going to make such a mark on this world.
Again and again.
Lara Croft is back. Rise of the Tomb Raider is the long-awaited sequel to the 2013 reboot and sees Lara thrown into another insane adventure a year after her first ordeal. This time, she's battling a religious militant group called Trinity in Siberia for control of an ancient artifact that can, you guessed it, change the world. I can hear you asking, why is this one called Rise of the Tomb Raider? Didn't she rise in the first one? This is dumb. But actually, it makes perfect sense. In the first game, Lara was unwillingly thrown into this crazy situation and just did what she had to save her friends and escape. It turns out she got a taste for this kind of thing. This time, her adventure is her idea. This is the story of her becoming the Lara Croft we all know and love. This growth is the underlying theme of the whole game. Rise of the Tomb Raider is, narratively and in terms of gameplay, a story about growing up and reaching your potential. Lara was scared and innocent, but now she's battle-hardened and actively looking for more adventures. Her voice actor, Camilla Luddington, deserves praise for some of this transition. She doesn't sound scared anymore, she sounds like a badass. It's also her movements and the dialogue that convey how far she's come, and the gameplay has taken everything that was good about the first and improved it while working out the kinks. This can also work to the game's disadvantage. The first game was filled with awe-inspiring moments because they pushed Lara to her limits, and when she succeeded, it made you feel as if maybe you could climb a radio tower too, or maybe you could survive an intense firefight. Lara isn't an innocent little girl anymore. She's braver and stronger for having gone through these moments, which makes her a more confident character, but it also means that the player doesn't share in any of these character-defining moments. Well, I guess unless you've also outrun a helicopter on a collapsing bridge. Fair play. You still do impressive things as Lara. I mean, that whole bridge thing. But this time, it doesn't feel as if it could be you in her shoes. This was always going to be the case in its sequel, so it's not a fault on the developers, but it is a shame that it's lost some of the personal impact that the first is so well loved for. But what it's lost in emotional impact, it makes up for with a sense of grandness. Huge battles through old ruins rage around you, and it's full of sights that take your breath away. These epic moments are only part of what makes Rise of the Tomb Raider such an intense and rewarding gameplay experience. It plays like an action-adventure game, rocketing you from one catastrophe to the next, but the open world gives you space to breathe in between, so you never feel like you're on rails. And it gives you the character customization of an RPG, letting you fine-tune Lara's skills and appearance to approach these catastrophes the way you want to. Combat is a huge part of these grand set pieces, but even though you end up equipped with an arsenal of weapons, combat is never something you can take for granted. Enemies swarm over Lara in heavy armour, throwing grenades and suppressing her with rifle fire. Combat is never impossible, but you have to be smart about it and use your surroundings to your advantage. Craft bombs and smoke grenades from containers lying around the map, and scramble behind cover as much as possible. It's still a little crazy that one woman can time and again defeat small armies, but Lara isn't an unstoppable machine. Lara can bandage herself on the run, and can change between multiple firing modes and attacks for each weapon, but in a lot of cases the stealthy approach is your best option. Outside of combat, gameplay is smooth and familiar to anyone who played the first game. Lara spends a lot of time climbing on things, and this is more interactive than just holding a button to scale walls. I think this is actually my favourite climbing in a video game, trumping even Assassin's Creed, and climbing is basically their thing. The open world is gorgeous and begs exploration. But more importantly, everything in the environment tells a story. The familiar white marks that indicate a climbable wall are more than just gameplay markers. They're scuff marks that hint at a long history of people climbing up that spot. You rarely find coins or treasures on their own. They lie next to bodies and tell stories about that character's life. Things like this make exploring the world rewarding and make you feel like you're inhabiting an area rich with history, instead of just collecting 50 pretty rock shards. And of course, as you explore, you uncover optional challenge tombs that you can explore for big reward. These tombs are giant puzzles that challenge your critical thinking and sometimes your patience. Solving them nets you high-ranking skill unlocks early in the game, as well as pieces of new weapons and huge XP bonuses. They're a lot of fun and the closest this game made me feel to being Lara. The new Tomb Raider series has some of the best quick-time events of any game, because they also add to the authenticity of the world. Some landings go worse for Lara than others, and you can help her regain her footing by quickly pressing X, the button for climbing and gripping. In combat, stuns and counters are performed through precisely timed quick-time events, but pulling these off makes you feel accomplished, not distracted. Some encounters are desperate struggles between Lara and a much larger opponent, so mashing buttons makes sense in that it makes you as frantic as Lara is. Just like the collectibles in the environment, the quick-time events make sense within the world of the game and Lara's character. In the end, Rise of the Tomb Raider isn't really about Lara. It's a larger story about two armies at war, with Lara stuck in the middle. She's still the main focus, but her actions are defined by this central story. But it's these actions that transform her into what she is today, everyone's favourite Tomb Raider. I didn't feel as connected to this game as I did the first, or as captivated by its story, but it's still one of the best games I've played. It's a smartly constructed game world with smart mechanics, and everything just feels right. New and returning players will feel the same thing. You and Lara are where you're meant to be.
You're damn right I am.